From the construction of the Giza pyramids, to the discovery of modern helicopters and yachts in hieroglyphics written thousands of years ago, the land of Egypt is filled with so many mysteries that they leave the human mind stunned. A city known as Abydos is one of the oldest cities of ancient Egypt, 550 kilometers away from Cairo. On one side, the Nile River flows at a distance of 11 kilometers, while on the other side, as far as the eye can see, there is nothing but sand. In 1988, due to a stormy wind, an unusual and strange sculpture emerged from within the sand. It was a very dilapidated wooden structure that was badly hollowed out by termites. To uncover the truth, an archaeological team began excavations here in the year 2000. This excavation had to be done with great care, as even a small mistake could damage the structure. The object that emerged from within the sand was not an ordinary structure, but rather a 70-foot-long boat. What was the purpose of this lone boat in the midst of the desert? The matter was not over yet. The search to unravel the mystery was still going on. It was found that there were not one, not two, but a total of 14 boats, which were buried side by side in the desert. Welcome back, once again to Noor TV's videos. Viewers, archaeologists were not able to extract these dilapidated boats completely from the sand, because they were afraid that if they did, these boats would break and a very big mystery would remain incomplete. Only with the help of a few wood samples were they able to determine that the boats were 5,000 years old, meaning 500 years older than the Giza pyramids. However, this single answer wasn't sufficient to unravel the mystery. After some time, with the help of latest sonar scanning technology, archaeologists were now able to create a 3D model of the entire area without touching it. The 3D model created after scanning looks something like this. This is considered the oldest fleet in human history to date. 60 to 70 feet long boats, which look like they have been carefully lined up parallel to each other. Upon seeing the location where these boats are parked, the first thought that comes to mind is whether this might have been the bank of the Nile River in that era. The experts quickly dismissed this possibility, because if these boats had floated to the river's edge, they would have been in an unstable position. They are parked parallel to each other, indicating that they were placed here deliberately. Apart from this, the archaeologist also thoroughly inspected the surrounding landscape, but nowhere did it appear that the Nile River used to pass through here. So who did these boats belong to? And if they did not come here by flowing in the river, then why were they brought to the desert? A clue was found when the structures of the boats were reconstructed with the help of 3D graphics. These were not ordinary boats but rather rowing vessels that were propelled by a group of 30 people with the help of oars, similar to the modern-day raft boats. If we examine their design closely, these boats were meticulously crafted by skillfully intertwining wooden planks using ropes. Archaeologists suggest that these boats appear quite distinct and advanced from the boats constructed during that era. The wooden planks in these boats were cut and positioned from the inside at a specific angle, and apparently, it seems that they were constructed in such a manner to enhance their aesthetic appeal. In ancient Egypt, only one person could possess boats of this kind, and that was the ancient Egyptian king, known as the pharaoh. Only the king had enough power to abandon state-of-the-art boats of that era in the desert as if they were discarded waste. But the question is, why were they kept in the desert? To unravel the mystery of the Abydos boats, Egyptologists began to investigate the surrounding area. Right next to the place where this fleet is buried, there is a large, ruined structure made of mud bricks. Experts believe that this large structure appears to be a place of worship for the ancient Egyptians, where they used to worship their god, meaning their pharaoh. Many events used to take place here because there are also pottery vessels found here, in which food and wine were once poured. The carbon dating of these vessels also indicated that they were created during the same era when the 14 boats were constructed. Now, Egyptologists are sure that the 14 boats must have some connection with this structure. When these boats were re-examined closely, a clue was found that was to be a major breakthrough for this discovery. Mud bricks were also found placed around the boats. The brick wall was built according to the curve of the boat, as if they were specially made for boats. These walls were not only on the sides of the boats, but similar mud bricks were also found beneath them. Now, when there are bricks on three sides, it's highly likely that bricks were also placed on top of the boats that have now fallen and been effaced over time. With the help of 3D graphics, when bricks were placed on the upper part of the boats, they started to present a scene something like this. These were nothing but coffins of boats. Yes, just like mummies. These boats were also placed with great reverence and splendor inside these coffins 5,000 years ago. On top of them, a plaster of white limestone was applied for beauty. When the sunlight fell upon them, they would appear to shine from a distance in the desert. Let us tell you here that when the pyramids were newly built, the same type of white plaster was also applied on their top layer. Archaeologists have found several pieces of evidence that indicate ancient Egyptians used white limestone plaster for decorative purposes. After the application of limestone plaster, the pyramids would sparkle like pearls in the desert. After many years, archaeologists had managed to unravel the mystery of the Abydos boats to a considerable extent. One thing had been confirmed, that these boats had not come here by drifting in the Nile River. Their advanced design is evidence that they were owned by an ancient Egyptian king, and they were placed in mud brick coffins. The search for the answer to the last question, that why the boats were placed inside coffins. Just 1.5 kilometers away from here in the desert, there is a tomb of an Egyptian king where they were placed after their death. The astonishing fact is that this tomb was also constructed in the same era, when the boats and vessels found inside the place of worship were made. In this tomb, not only was the pharaoh's mummy placed, but alongside it, these small boxes that you are seeing, Pharaoh's close companions were buried in these. That too on the same day when the king passed away. Yes, in the honor of the king. All his closest associates had decided to die with their pharaoh, their god, and leave this world. They believed that to ease the journey in the afterlife, all of the king's wealth, belongings, and even his servants should be buried alongside him. The boats were also placed inside the coffins with such grandeur to facilitate the afterlife of the same king. This is a tradition that has also been observed in the tombs of later Egyptian pharaohs. Most of the tombs of the Egyptian pharaohs have been looted, and many are probably still hidden somewhere in the sand. In 1922, in the Valley of the Kings, several feet below the ground, King Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered, which somehow escaped from the looters. All the treasure and all the belongings of the king were there in a safe and untouched condition. In this treasure, models of 35 boats were also found, similar to the Abydos boats, perhaps buried alongside the king to facilitate his journey in the afterlife. I hope you will like and share this video of Noor TV. Thank you so much for your kind comments. See you in next awesome video.